Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me in a special event, episode 60 for AppScan Tuesdays. And today it's going to be the launch for AppScan 10.0.5. We released it last week. And like in previous times, when we do launch, I invite a group of people to the show. Hi, Florin,
Hello.
Billy, and Ran. Florin is, as you know, product manager of our static analysis area, AppScan Source. Billy is in charge of the dynamic analysis with AppScan Standard and Enterprise, and Ran is in charge of AppScan IAST, who has good news for us this time. Ran, I'll need you to move a little bit to the center of your screen if you can. Great, thanks. So, oh, okay, much better. Thanks. So, Florin, let's start with you this time. It's been a while since we released. It's 4 months, unlike usually 3 months, and that is due to, like everyone in the world, due to the COVID situation. But even with that, we were able to release a nice version, I believe. What did you like most about this version from AppScan Source side?
I think we're starting to bring a lot of the things that we left separate together. So one of the big items we have, and I think I'm stealing a bit of the thunder from Billy here, is we're working on the new remediation that we mentioned in the previous release. We've done that for AppScan on cloud, and now we're bringing that on premise, and we're starting to unify the terminology so users of our products get slightly more familiar experience. My camera decided it wanted to focus on something else for a second. And that's one of the things I like. We're starting to become more a platform like we've been, and do more of the things that make things look like a platform. And other than that, we're also doing some work on getting some migration done between the existing deployments that have the historical SolidDB database to the new service provided by the AppScan Enterprise, which will provide a much easier way of maintaining the product, deploying it, and also improve the performance.
Cool. Billy, in the spirit of what Florin did, you're probably going to steal some of Ran's highlights, but
Yeah, exactly. So the two important stuff are one is, of course, the new advisories and fix accommodation we call how to fix that are shared between all products. And the second one that is very exciting is the GA release of IAST in AppScan Enterprise.
yeah, we're bringing it to the on-prem world.
Yeah.
Great. So on, do you have anything to add now?
Well, I don't have a lot to add, but I am excited that now Node.js and .NET are available on the on-prem solution. It is important to say that those solutions are available for some time in ASO, and I'm really excited to have those on-prem as well.
Cool. Well, we have a lot to share, but we will try to scope it down to the amount of time that we have. So, AppScan 10.0.5, what's in it? We made a small change between 10.0.4 and 10.0.5 in the areas that we're focusing on. For those who remember, we had three slightly different themes in the past, but now we are focusing on these three. Secure DevOps for us, it's not just the plugins, it's not just fast, accurate scans as we had in the past. It's a mix of how we give you the right scanning technology, because we have SAST and DAST and IAST now for the on-prem and SCA on the cloud. How we bring it the right one for you for your DevOps use case. It may be DAST for some customers. Now it can be obviously IAST also, and we want to give it to you through the easy to use experience that we offer, whether it's through the REST APIs or through the plugins that we offer. The second one is focus on the fix. We want to reduce the overall remediation time for your developers. At the end, running scans won't make you more secure. We want to make sure that we power the developers with everything they need in order to fix the problem. So it starts with self-correlating findings, which is something that is not yet available on-prem. We're working on it, and if you're following this channel, you've heard about it in the past. It's also with the targeted guidance that both Florin and Billy mentioned, which Billy will show later, and some developer-assisted services, which I showed with Kathleen a few weeks ago. And at the end of it, our on-prem customers, most of them are enterprise level customers. You have a big deployment. We want to make sure that you have everything you need in order to manage the application security program, from control, visibility, all the way to scale and governance to everything that you need. So with that, I wanted to let Florin talk a little bit about AppScan Source. Go ahead, Florin.
So thanks, Ethan. The first item we are looking at is, like you said, is focusing on how to fix and focusing on the fix itself. We have a new and improved advisory and fix recommendation content consolidated into the how to fix view. Traditionally, we call this remediation assistance. Billy would call this something else. AppScan Enterprise would call it something else. But now we're kind of all going after the same naming on how to fix. And this will provide better information about how you can fix something, code samples and clear scenarios and examples for specific APIs. And specifically for AppScan Source, we're now going to introduce this information into the findings reports. Previously, only AppScan Standard had this capability. We know it was something that our customer liked, and we had this request for static analysis, and now we're making this available for them as well. The other big item, as I mentioned, is the migration utility. We want to be able to migrate data between old installs and new installs of AppScan Source that are backed by AppScan Enterprise database. So we're making this easily available with the migration utility. And we added some additional reporting with DISA STIG version 5, the first revision. And we are adding some small quality of life improvements where you can include or exclude IFA excluded findings. For those of you that are not familiar with what IFA is and how it works, IFA is a little agent that tells you what it thinks it's interesting for you to start with in terms of reviewing results. And for very, very, very large applications, we've seen that it can exclude quite a few things. So we're allowing people to just remove that. If they don't care about it, there's no reason to keep a track of it. And we're doing some performance improvements with the same very large applications to make sure that we can generate large PDF reports a lot faster. And for the interest of making it easier for support teams to help you, we're putting some system informations in the logs, which can be easily reviewed by our support teams and can help understand where the problem might come from. Maybe you're not running with enough resources or something like that is affecting your scans. Just to make sure that everything is readily available and there's less work for you to do when working with our support teams.
And Florin, with that migration utility, basically we completely detach with everything that was before V10, right? If someone had a V8, even V9, continue to V10, and move now to the new model, we covered everything today.
Yeah, I wouldn't say detach. You can keep your work. So
Sorry.
as far as that goes, you can move to a new system, but you can keep the work, all of the work you've done in the past. You maybe have some information about APIs that are specific to you, some configurations, some filters, scan configurations you're using. All of that can be reused. You can continue to use those, but in the new system, which we hope will be a bit better than what we used to have in the past.
Yeah, so you don't need to carry the old SolidDB. You simply move everything to ASC. Most of our
Correct.
customers did it already, but some had a lot of configurations on that.
That is correct.
There's a lot of quality of life here, both on this and remediation and the other items that you mentioned. So great work there. I won't let you demo this time. We want to make sure that we have enough time for Ran and his beautiful demo later. So I'll jump to Billy now. Billy?
Okay, so for AppScan Standard, the first item, similar to what Florin mentioned, is the new how to fix content. This is a content that is targeted for developers that will help them to get accurate data and will help them to fix the security issues. So we combined the advisory and fix recommendation that we had before into a one consolidated area, both in the UI and in the reporting. And everything is presented there. And we also include more and new code specific examples and information for the developers to use.
Cool.
The next item is related to non-standard headers. I assume that some of you are aware of this functionality that we added about 2 releases ago, that now we can test for HTTP headers that are not part of the standard or not part of frameworks, those that are used by the application similar to parameters. So in this release, we enhanced this functionality, and now we enable customers to exclude them for testing if they want to select specific ones and exclude them. Next item is compliance report, similar to what we saw in AppScan Source. We updated this report across all our products. And next is a list of security improvements and new security rules that we added to the dynamic analysis engine. All these updates are, of course, part of the Dust engine in all the products, including AppScan on Cloud and AppScan Enterprise.
And I think it's important to mention that we actually don't highlight every CVE that we had because we are adding because we are covering them through the regular tests. But there is more behind this list. And Billy, maybe we should do a short demo of this how to fix that both you and Florin mentioned.
Sure. Let me share. Okay, so let's take a look, for example, on SQL injection. We see here in AppScan Standard, but we'll have the same content in the other products as well. So we can see here all the different content items that we have. But if we go to a specific language, we can see that we also have code example that is relevant to the language with information on how to fix it. So we have both the code example and the details under fix recommendation. And the information is updated depending on the language that we select. You can see here a different example. And we have many more languages.
It's also important to mention here the API references that you have, that you're showing on the screen. Those will take you to a specific article on that SQL injection, for example, in JDBC and all those at the top. Not all languages will have them. Not all languages will have the code samples, but it's a much better way to send developers to Stack Overflow. We want to feed them here in our tools.
And here you can find additional references for more general information about the vulnerability. So there's a lot of content here. Some of the issues have more code languages, some have less. Not everything is available for all the security issues, but you'll find a lot of new content. Another item we can see, again, not available for everything, but for example, if we look at cross-site scripting, we can see exploit example that may be more interesting when looking at static analysis results, but in some cases it's interesting for dynamic as well, where you can see how the request and response look when the vulnerability is there.
Yeah. And like with the security rules and with the languages, we expect this to grow from one version to the other. We will add more details here. We'll add more code samples and more exploit samples. So stay tuned on this.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a short demo on the how to fix.
Yeah, let's go now back to AppScan Enterprise.
Okay, so for AppScan Enterprise, again, these are the highlights, not everything. The most important thing to note is the official release of IAST, Interactive Application Security Testing. We introduced IAST as a feature preview in 10.0.2, several releases ago. And since then, we got feedback from customers and we continue to improve and enhance it. And we also added new languages. So now it supports Java, .NET, and Node.JS.
Okay.
And from this release, it's officially GA'd, which also means that a license is required. Once I finish this slide, Ran will provide a demo on IAST.
Sure.
The next is how to fix. It's very similar to what we saw for standard and for AppScan Source. Azure DevOps plugin is a new plugin that we introduced about 3 months ago, but after 10.04 was released. It enables you to integrate dynamic analysis testing from AppScan Enterprise into your pipeline, similar to the plugin that is available for AppScan on Cloud. As Eitan mentioned in the beginning, we continue to invest in every release in performance and scalability improvements. In this release as well, we have done several things to improve that. Some are based on customer feedback and some are based on our internal research. In AppScan Enterprise, we updated the compliance report as well, like we did for the other, and included all the new security testing that we have in the dynamic analysis, those that were mentioned in the previous slide, and you can see the full list on the release notes if you want.
Cool. So let's bring everyone back to the studio before we move to Ran. The highlight of today's show, we wanted to make sure that while we stole his thunder about telling IAST, we'll let him enough time to demo. We're all excited about this. So, Ran,
Great.
let's jump directly to the demo.
So for the sake of this demonstration, I created a new application. I named it Demo 10.05, and I'm going to start by demoing Node.js. As you probably know, usually when using Node.js, you're required to download libraries from NPM, which is a global repository, and we wanted to make sure that this solution is completely on-prem. So instead of that, we are hosting a TouchZ, which is something that NPM can install directly. I'm going to go to the IAST agent tab and create a new agent. From the drop-down menu, I'm going to choose Node.js, and I'm going to name it with a specific name and start the download. As you can see, we already have the instructions right here, but I'm going to finish downloading the agent before I go through those steps. Okay, so I'm going to save the file on my computer, and the only thing that I need to do now is unzip the folder and copy the .gz file into my project. Now that I have it right here, I'm going to go back and read the instructions. So I need to go to my command line and run npm install. After that, I'm going to take this string and copy it right like the example itself into the package.json file. So I have the script, the start script, and right here I'm going to paste this command. As you can see in my dependencies, I already have the sec agent as a source from the file, that is it. And that's it. All I have to do is npm start. And I can see my application already starting to run, and it's now activated. If I go back to right here, I can see that I have the agent node01 already enabled. I'm going to interact with my application. Again, I'm not doing anything malicious, just normal interactions. I'm going to fill some forms. Visit some pages. That was an error on my end. And I'm going to refresh the page just to save some time. you can already see issues are being collected and sent to AppScan Enterprise. We can see all the information, and we have code trace, everything that we used to see from Java is now also available from Node.js.
Cool. And everything you showed manually, we know that we can do also automatically. We just wanted to show the first steps for someone to try it out.
Sure. I'm going to go into a virtual machine to demonstrate the .NET agent. So I'm going to go to the same application, demo 10.5, and just create a new agent. Now from the drop-down menu, I'm going to choose .NET. I'm going to download the agent.
And we're going to show the .NET and the Node.js. The Java one we showed, I think, in the 10.02 release, so I can include a link here. Although the UI changed a bit, but it didn't change. It's still very simple to use that one.
Yeah, and same goes here. I'm going to unzip this folder, take the Node package, and for this demo, I've already configured this folder to be a folder hosting all the Node packages locally. So all I have to do right now is go to my solution, manage the Node packages. Here I'm going to select my packages, which is the local folder that I just visited, and click on the install button. Now, something that I get asked from time to time for this solution in ASOP is what are the configuration needed to do in the build process, and here is something that we are really invested a lot of time in. So because we use managed code in order to hook to the relevant function, there is no optimization or build configuration you need to do. You just need to build your application as if it's going to whatever server you're going to run it on.
So it's the same configuration as I have in production, right? I'm testing the exact same application, only using this nugget to link to my application.
Exactly. So now that the package is installed, I'm going to start the IIS Express server. And we're good to go. I'm going to just interact with the application a little bit, visit some pages. And I'm going to visit back the server. We can see that we already have the .NET agent communicating. I'm going to refresh just to make sure that we already found some issues. And we can see that we have 2 issues that we found through the .NET agent and 7 issues that we found from the Node agent.
Cool. So again, it seems pretty simple, pretty straightforward to do that. We don't require users to do anything special with their configuration, nothing out of the ordinary for their build environment. And everything can be automated, as we mentioned. So
Exactly right. I mean, this is where we put our focus on having a simple to install. The fact that it just working without any change to configuration or build cycle. That's what we put a lot of focus on.
So let's bring it back. Okay, cool. So we've completed the 10.05 launch. There is a mix of things as you can see. There is more to see on it. You can download it already and use it. And I want to send a special thanks to the teams that we have in India, where even though with COVID and with the situation that is extreme there, we were able to release it on time, and I believe that we have the best customers in the world understanding all this situation. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you Florin, Billy, and Ran. And until the next version or until the next demo that we do. Bye-bye.